Hi guys, very good morning to you. Welcome to the video number 216. This is your trainer for the day and my name is Ajay. If you're watching my channel for the first time, then this is the video number 216 guys, and in this video I'm going to talk about what are the basics of for next loop in Excel VBA, right? I have received a couple of comments and emails, and you people have actually given you this basically a suggestion that it would be a great idea if we can actually discuss about the for next loop, because I have already created a lot of loop examples in my playlist, and some of you have faced this difficulty while going through those videos, that when you watch those videos you remember the things, but when you're trying to use them and you don't have a YouTube channel in front of you, then you feel a lot of difficulty. So no problem, your suggestion is taken care of, and we are going to now discuss about this. In this video I'm going to talk about that how you can actually write the for next loop. Okay, so the next thing which I now want to tell you before we just go further, my channel has already 216 videos, and you can go to this playlist and you can check out all these categories. This I always start my videos actually by introducing you to my channel, and here you can see all the things based on the subject line. You see that we have the lot of videos, like for Excel indirect we have 6 videos, for there are some text functions in Excel, they have the 8 videos. So every subject is almost covered in Excel VBA, MS Access and MS Access VBA also, right? So now let's go ahead and let me open any Excel file. So let me just open this Excel file, and I'm going to tell you that where exactly use the for next loop. All right, so this was the previous a long time back, I think I recorded a video anyways. All right, now let's go to the developer tab. I'm going to make you understand that how we actually write the the for next loop. So I insert the module, new module, and in this module we are going to write this for next loop. So I'm going to tell you from the very scratch. So you write here for and next loop. Okay, this is the sub. I am going to give it a name. Now what happens when you write the for next loop, this is the structure basically, for, and then you write the variable equals to 1 to how many times you are supposed to run that. So suppose if you want to run a loop 4 times, then this is how your basically the loop happens. This is a standard code guys which you need to write, and your VBA code goes here. Actually VBA code goes here. Now remember, what are the keywords you need to take care of? I'm talking about the VBA keywords. So this for is a VBA keyword, and 1 to 4 is something which you cannot neglect, because this is going to tell you about the repetition, how many times you're supposed to run the loop, right? And whatever the code you will write here, it means that it keeps on repeating. It keeps on executing itself 4 times, right? And this next is again a it's a basically for next word. So when you write the for loop, it is generally known as for next loop. So for next, these are the very important words, you cannot really skip that, right? Now the thing which I have written here, variable. Now variable means that basically it can be anything. For example, I, J, K, L, M, whatever you want to declare, that is simply going to tell that all right, so how many times we are supposed to run this loop. Now for example, if I declare here any variable, let's say I, so I have to declare it first, name I as integer or long, whatever you want to do based on the the variable strength. So I'm going to write here I, right? So this is how the code works. Now if we run this code, see what will happen. Let me press F8, because F8 is actually the shortcut key which is used to run it step by step. Now look at this guys, the moment I run this, you see the value of the I, it is 1. Okay, next time now it is not going to stop this macro. Now it is not going to fall on this enter, rather it will go back, and you see that it is actually moving, but you can't see it. You see that I'm pressing F8 again and again, and the numbers is changing. The moment you have I equals to 4, then it stops, right? I can give it a good look, maybe to understand, make this understand. Why don't we get the message box and then we display the variable called I, the same variable which I'm using basically here, right? So now look at this, now you will understand. So first we got the I as 1, it displays 1, and then it goes to the next. Now you see that it is not going on the enter, because we have told our loop that you got to run 4 times. So Excel VBA is going to take care of that, right? Excel VBA has this variable set up in its memory, and definitely it is going to run 4 times, right? So what is the next value in the I? You know that it is true. Now again you see that again the loop is running, it is not stopping, right? So similarly again you run this and there we go. So now since I has already got a value 4, it means that we have already run this loop 4 times. So there is no question of running it on the 5th time. There we go, guys. So in this way, you write the for next loop. Now what if you forget to, let's say, mention this word next, which is a very important word, right? Now if you run this, you would get the error. Look at this, for without next. Now in my many videos I always concentrate on one thing. I always encourage you that whenever you get the error, try to find out its reason why it is coming, rather than going to the Google or just copying some code and just reinventing your code again so that it can work. No, that's entirely a very wrong approach. That is not going to make you learn from the future perspective, right? So obviously if I get some error, I should know that its reason. Now if somebody walks up to me and say that, hey Ajay, I have heard a lot about you in the company, I have just one small request, I get stuck in one of my code and it's not working, I don't know, there's some error coming out, right? Now I am not going to, this is what I usually used to do. Before I go and check that person's VBA code, before I walk up to his workstation or her workstation, the first thing which I always used to ask that, can you please tell me the error, right? So generally people, they don't even remember the error, then they go back and they come and they say, all right, actually the error is that for without next. Then without going there, I can tell them, look, you are using a for loop, but you haven't inserted the next word. So wherever you are executing the VBA code, please ensure that after it, you should be writing the next word. So that is why, it is so important for us to understand the errors. And, you can't get, I think, the better than this, because this is so clear, guys. It simply says for without next. What else you need, right? So I'm going to write here next. There we go. And now I'm going to press F5, or you can simply run it from here, and there we go. The code is going to run 1, 2 and 3 and 4. Perfect, right? If you wanted to run, let's say 2 times, okay, no problem. Let's just hit on the run and you would see that we will have this loop running 2 times. There we go. Simple, right? It's very easy. This loop is very easy, but generally this is just the basic example. I'm telling you that what things you're supposed to take care of while running, but most of the time when we write, we don't write the message box, we write definitely something else, right? Now for example, what you want to do is you want to display here numbers. Let's prepare a code and then we will understand the code much better, right? So let's say I want to display here 10 and I want to display here 15 with a gap of 5 and then 20 and then 25 and then 30 and then 35 and maybe let's say 40. Okay, that's it. This is what exactly I want to run. Now when I give you this task that guys go ahead and print 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, what is the first thing you would have a look? What is the first thing you think that is the most important thing? I think the most important thing is that how many times you are supposed to run the loop, right? So if you have actually want to start from 10 and you want to print the 40, you would calculate that how many times I'm supposed to run this loop. So in this case, we are supposed to run the loop 7 times, right? So the first thing which is clear is that we need to run the loop 7 times. That is the first thing we are going to do. All right. What is the next thing? The next thing is the first value which we are going to print on the A1 cell, that has to be the 10. And the next value which we are going to print on the another cell, that has to be 15. So the second thing we are going to take care of it, that the second thing is that it should start with A1 cell. Okay, we need to ensure that it should always be on the A1 and then with a difference of 5. Your loop should move forward. So these are the 3 things which you are going to take care of it, and that's it. So let's go ahead on the VBA and let's work on this. So I as integer, I'm going to keep it as I as integer, but yes, here as you may have expected that this is something we are going to change it to I equals to 7, 1 to 7. So we need to run the loop 7 times. Now what is the first thing you would like to do here? Now there are n number of ways of doing it, right? What I can do is I can simply keep it here range. Now look at the way of writing it. Now maybe you're going to write it like this: range of a1 dot value is going to be equals to 10. Okay, now if I just copy this or maybe I can cut this and paste it here so that we can refer to this, but we need to work here in the A1 cell. Right now what happens when you're going to run this loop, see what will happen. The loop is running for the first time, right, and it prints the value in the 10, and the next time again it is going to print the same value. So this code is not going to work. This keeps on overwriting this A1 cell again and again, right, 7 times, and this is not exactly what we wanted, right? So we actually are going to focus on this one part. Somehow we can make it dynamic. For example, every time the loop runs, this instead of 1 we should get a 2, so that it should be concatenated with A, and then it becomes A2 and then A3 and then A4 and then A5. You know, I think the job is going to be done. So how can you make this line dynamic, right? So it's very easy. What you can do is, let me just copy this line. I'm not going to delete that line so that you can refer to it for the understanding. Now this is 1 is a constant and this is not changing. We will have to change this every time the loop is going to run. So I'm going to use this AND operator. I hope you know that in Excel we use it a lot. It's a join whenever you want to join the two, different cells, two values. Now here, instead of this 1, I'm going to write simply here I, because I is going to change itself every time the loop will run. And then what will happen, this entire A and I is going to concatenate together and it is going to give you the result called A2, right? We can do one thing. We can also, let me just try to put the watch on this. Let's have a look so that you can understand. Okay, now there we go. Here we have a watch, and now let's run this. There we go. So what is the first value in the I? The I is going to be 1, right? So this, you can see here, this is going to be 1, right? So this is not exactly, you're not able to see here. I wanted to show you actually, or maybe we can do one thing. Let me try to put the watch on this. Yeah, there we go, guys. You can see here now it's working, right? It's A1. So in the A1 it printed the value 10. Now the next time when the loop is going to run, you know that the I will change to what? I is going to change to 2. So this A and I, which is 2, it is going to make this A2. So that means now in the range A2 we are going to have another value called 10, and you see that the cursor is moving actually. So again, the next time I is going to have 3, and you can have a look here, it has changed to A3. Wonderful, right? Now still we have a problem, but first of all let us ensure if this is working 7 times or not. And there we go, guys. Very simple, right? The moment it reaches A8, it is going to exit. You can see here, right, the loop is not going to rerun now because I has reached to its value. It is now beyond the 7, right? So what is the next thing now we need to do? That, two things we have done. We have run this loop 7 times. We started it with the A1 and have also made it dynamic, but the difference of 5 is yet to be written in our VBA code. So how are we gonna do that? So in this case, now what we are going to do, instead of this 10, why don't we go ahead and make this also dynamic? Okay, so let's do one thing. Let me declare another variable called val. Okay, and let's declare it here dim val as, let's say, integer. Okay, and the moment we start the val, before we start the loop, let us go ahead and give it a number called val equals 10. Now the first time the loop is going to run, it is going to take this value as 10. Okay, and what is the next thing we would like to do here? The next thing which we would like to do here is, obviously we would want the value to be changed to 15, and to change the value to 15, I'm going to write here the code as VBA syntax, which is going to increment this val by 5, right? As simple as that. So let's go and let me just write it. How are you going to write it? So here, when the loop is finished, I'm going to write here val plus 5. All right, there we go. Now we can put the watch on this as well. So let me just put the watch on this. There we go. All right, and this is, we don't require, we understand what is happening. So now let us run this code again. Okay, and so I want to delete this first, otherwise you will not be able to really see the effect. Okay, now let's start. I'm going to press F8. There we go, guys. You see that in the window. So we got the value in the variable called val 10. We are starting, and right now this A I shows as A0, obviously because I is empty, but the moment I'm going to run this line, I has taken a, the first time the loop is running, so I becomes 1, and this 1 is going to be passed in here, and A and I becomes A1. So now we are seeing that in the range A1 value, what you need to print? You need to print 10. There we go. Now the next time it runs, the second time, because loop is supposed to run, then in the A2 value, we would like to see this incremented by 5. So this 10 plus 5 will make it what? You can see here the value is now, new variable is now 15. So the next time the loop runs, here you have this IS2 and the value is going to be changed to 15. There we go. Now you can run this loop again and again, and you would see that we are perfect on this. We got the results. There we go. Right? So this is how basically you write the programs. This is how you write the loops. Right? You can further go ahead and copy this code, and you can do it in a different example also. You can maybe let me just do it. Let's just put some space here, and this time let's say you don't want to use this line. For example, range A1, we don't want to use the range syntax. Then you can also use another syntax called cells. Right? So what we can do here is we can write the cells. Now cells, they cells this has a two parameters basically. One is the row number and the column number. So column will be obviously 1 because we are moving in the downward direction and we are like to print all the values in the column A. However, the row number will keep on changing, right? So here I can declare one variable called row number, let's say, and the column number I will keep it as constant. Value equals to, now what exactly you want the value? Again, you can write here val, okay, and here you need to write here val plus 5, so that the next value when it is going to print, then it should be 15. But at the same time, because we are declaring here row number, a new variable, you will have to declare here a row number as well. So let's just go ahead and declare here as long. Okay, now there we go. Now this is what we have done so far. Now what is the next thing? The important thing, you see, if you run this, I know this is going to give us the error, right? Let's just go ahead and let me see if you can catch up with me on this error. So let's go ahead and run this error. First of all, ambiguous name detected. Why? Because you can't keep the same name again and again. We have already used this for underscore next underscore loop in the above macro, so you can't have the two macros having the same name, right? So I just declared it as a 2. All right, now let's just go ahead and run this. There we go. Everything looks perfect, and in this line you see that you will get the error application defined, object defined error. Your object is not defined. If you click on the debug, this line is creating the problem. And why? Give it a thought why it is giving the error, right? If you got it, wonderful. If you haven't got it, then let me tell you, you see that when you started this row number variable, it is 0 because it is empty, right? You haven't given any value here. So how can you say that I'm going to be on the row number 0 having a column number 1? Because in Excel there is no 0 row number, right? It always starts with the 1. So you have to give this a number 1 before it actually starts in the loop. So here what I'm going to do after the val, I've just write here that please started with the 0, started with the 1, right? Now at the same time, now let me just reset the code and see what is going to happen. Now when you run this loop, this row number will become 1. So it means that first row and first column, which is obviously going to be this A1. So we will going to be have a value called 10, and now the 10 is going to be incremented with 5 and the value becomes 15. But again, the next time if you run this, see what will happen. You are not moving actually the row numbers. So it keeps on overwriting, every value here. Look at this, guys, right? So this is another thing which we actually supposed to work on. So what we can do is, it's very simple. We just need to increment the row number also one by one after the loop. After the loop in the sense after this line actually. Once you entered in the loop and once you print the value of the val, which is 10, the next time it should be 15, and at the same time the cell has to move to the next cell, which is A2. So let's go ahead and let's start. I don't think so now there will be any error. Let's go ahead and let's have a look. So there we go. We have a row number 1, and in the row number 1, column number 1, which is A1, the value 10 is going to be printed. Now this val is incremented. It is now 15. I again run this. You see that the row number is changed to 2. So next time when the loop is going to run, this is the second time I'm running this loop. You know that because I is 2. And the value in the row number 2 is going to be 2. So that means on the row number 2 having a column 1, what we need to print is 15. And in this way you see that you can print the values. Right? That's it, right? So both the codes are here. You can just have a look on these both the codes. Both the codes work fine. There is no, as such, the comparison which one is better. It's, I think, the matter of choice. So I just wanted to share both the codes with you, and let me just remove some extra space so that you can pause the video and you can have a look on this. And if you have any questions regarding this code, just let me know about it, and I will definitely, as usual, I'll going to revert you on that. So I hope you enjoyed this. The basic session. I will be uploading a couple of more examples on the same in the coming videos. So if you haven't subscribed to the channel, please do that. This was the end of the video number 216, I believe, and you can watch all those amazing videos on my channel, right? So I'll see you in the next video. Thank you so much. Bye bye.